Trait 3, direction. Each one of us, in anything he's doing, in any context, is moving in one of two directions. Either he's moving towards a goal, towards a positive thing, or away from a bad thing, away from a negative thing. If you think of anything you're doing, you'll find that you're doing this because you want to achieve this goal, or you want to be away from that bad thing or problem. So, this describes the direction the person is moving in for a given context, toward an objective or away from problems. Okay. What are the characteristics of each type? People who are moving, I need to clarify something. When I say that someone is toward or away from, it doesn't mean that he is toward or away from in everything in his life. You can be toward or away from in work, but you change your personality, you change your pattern when it comes to buying a car. And you change it again when it comes to going for a vacation. So this refers to how you think in different contexts. It applies to a specific setting. We are different patterns in different settings. The same person is different patterns in different settings. So this doesn't refer to a pattern of a personality that is constant in every setting. So moving toward an objective, they think in terms of the goal to be attained. I want to go to that house, to that tower. He just walks like this. He doesn't see any obstacles on the way. He doesn't appreciate them. He doesn't recognize them. He just goes to his goal. They are motivated to have, get, attain, obtain, acquire. Away from people, they think in terms of problems to be avoided only. What is the problem? What is the possible problem? What could be complicated that I can avoid? And they are motivated when there is a problem. Oh, problem to be solved, or when there is a deadline to be met. Toward people, they have a problem because they often have trouble identifying problems, and they don't know what kind of trouble they might get themselves into. Away from people would see them as very naive. They are just going after a goal, and they don't know what kind of trouble they'll get into. And probably they would get into trouble on their way to their goal. Well, away from people have a problem. They might not focus on their goal because they are busy scanning the environment for problems. How can you discover the pattern of a person? Ask this question. Why is having their criteria? Why is having this job important? You ask them this question. So the toward person will tell you, he talks about gaining, achieving, he talks about positive things. And the away from person will tell you, will mention situations to be avoided or gotten rid of. Listen to what the person says after the word because it is always after because that you will get the positive toward or the negative away from. So always wait for the because. So distribution of people, 40% toward, 40% away from, and the rest, 20%, is equally toward and away from. If you write an article and you want someone to check it for spelling mistakes, someone to proofread this article, would you give it to a toward person or to an away from person? Away from person will see the spelling mistakes as if they are jumping out of the paper. But a toward person will be, oh, this is great, very happy. No comments, it's perfect, it's perfect. Examples of responses to the question, why is having that job important? I would get personal satisfaction and a promotion. What is this? Toward. Okay. I would get a promotion and not have to wait for a commission. Combination. I would get away from this boring work, all the deadlines, and my boss who keeps looking over my shoulder. Away from. Okay. Practical application. What kind of language you are going to use to influence them? A toward person, you will attain, obtain, have, get, include, achieve, enable, benefits, advantages. You talk to an away from person, you won't have to. You will solve the problem. You will avoid the disaster. You will fix, prevent, get rid of. Let's find out what's wrong. There are no problems. Okay. Application. If you are hiring people or assigning tasks to people, and you have to, now you know, this is a toward person, this is an away from person. You will hire a toward person in what? in a job that needs concentration on attainment of objectives, in a meeting, how do you talk to him? It's very important how you talk to him, because how you talk to him will be how you motivate him. You tell him in the benefit in the meetings, always tell them the benefits of doing a certain task, such as improving efficiency, increasing departmental revenue, receiving a bonus. So he's very much into the process of goal attainment. But you know, those steward people, they have a problem. What is their problem? They are not aware of the problems that they will get into, because you need a combination, you need a balance. You need to be goal-oriented. At the same time, you need to know what kind of problems you might get into to prevent them. If you talk to them about problems, they don't speak that language, but you need to make them aware of problems. So how would you talk to them about problems to make that balance in their career, in their life? Tell them, if we discuss and plan for potential problems now, we'll reach the objective sooner. Oh, you did tell them about problems, but you link it with reach the objective. This is their language. But you see, don't tell them, if we don't look at problems now, we'll be unprepared later. Unprepared? I never heard that word before. What's unprepared? I don't know it. So it's just the same, but the rephrasing makes magic. Just try it. So if we discuss and plan for problems, you mentioned the word problems, but immediately you corrected everything. We'll reach the objective sooner. Okay, away from. You hire them when there are problems like troubleshooting, solving problems. They are perfect. Testing a safety device. You give it to someone who isn't away from, because he will be looking for problems. Okay, how can you help them? They have a problem. What is their problem? They do not. They are the ones who will drop everything to fix one thing, because they saw a problem, so they don't care for anything else. So you want them to be to concentrate on focus on their goal. So what do you tell them? Explain to them in away from terms why keeping the goal in mind is important. If we consider the attainment of this objective, something that is very unfriendly to them, what is attaining an objective? I don't speak that language. This will prevent us from losing focus. Oh, losing, wow. Which could be a major waste of resources. Waste, great. And a lot of time for disaster. Oh, I love disasters. So this is the way you can, okay, you link the attainment of the goal to all sorts of things, problems and disasters and wastes. So they will be able to focus more on the goal. If you are working in sales and marketing, when advertising for a medicine, what are the best slogans to use? Now, advertising and marketing companies know this very well, and I wonder why they are not using it in the slogans of many medicines. You know, some professions are by nature toward or away from profession. What is medicine? What is medicine? Is it a toward profession or an away from profession? Would you imagine a doctor going to the emergency room and telling the patient who is in severe abdominal pain and distress, okay, tell me about your health goals. It's a pure away from profession. People come to us because of disease, because of problems, and our major task is to make them away from problems. Unlike a fitness center specialist whose job is to make people feel perfect about their health and fitness. So medicine is an away from profession. This makes the pharmaceutical companies also mainly away from profession. So we are away from professions, okay? And this also makes the patients, when it comes to the setting of illness, away from patterns, away from characters. So when you want to make a slogan for a medicine, would you rather put something like, this will make your day perfect, or will make you feel great within a few weeks, or this will put an end to your sufferings, stop your inflammation within a few weeks? This is their button. This is their hot button. They have receptors for the ending of a suffering. But they're not really appreciate. They will feel that, okay, feeling perfect, oh, it's good. But somehow they don't feel very friendly with it. But putting an end to the inflammation is really their button. You know, the best thing if you're promoting a product or a service is to study this service and decide, is this service an away from or a toward service? If I'm a car mechanic, for example, this is an away from service. So if I want to put a slogan or market myself, I have to market myself in away from terms. And if I am a herbalist prescribing tonics and things to improve the vitality, so I will market myself in a toward pattern. Okay, sometimes it's not your product or your service. Your service is, for example, your product is buying a house. This is not a toward or away from service. But how about the one who is buying your product? You come to know what kind of pattern he has. So you're selling this house. You talk to the family who's buying the house. And you come to know if they are an away from or a toward family by talking to them. Give them 10 to 15 minutes talking. So you know their criteria and you know if they are toward or away from. If you're selling a house to a toward family, a positive family going to a goal, so you would tell them, if this house matches their criteria, of course, this house is close to schools, it has lots of rooms, and it's near public transport. But if you discover this family is very oriented with avoiding and preventing problems, you will tell them exactly the same meaning, but in a different phrasing. This house isn't far from schools, isn't too small, and you don't have to walk miles to get to public transport. Just the same. But this will sound perfect to a toward family, and this will sound perfect to an away from family.